Everyone. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. Is there anyone that's here for the very first time? Oh, you guys are old hats, but yay. Yeah, so the bunch that raised their hands are part of the cast from last night's musical, Amy's musical. Yes. So thank you all to those of you that were here. They did an amazing job. It was inspirational and motivational, and we all really got that we need to always shine our light about how important that is in the world. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Amy, for bringing them. Thank you for the parents that drove and hung out and helped us get everything ready. And thank you to Suzanne Cardinal for all of the food that she provided for the green room. Thank you. It was a great night. Welcome to all of you at home that have chosen, instead of getting out on this absolutely gorgeous morning and joining us here, but instead to invite us into your homes. I'm very grateful that you did. Thank you for being with us.
And we have a magnificent reading this morning. The reading for today is by George Bernard Shaw. This is the true joy in life, the purpose of being used for... This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. The being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle for me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I have got hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. And so it is.
So good morning to those of you who may have just entered into the sanctuary. Our theme for the month of September is how to thrive in a chaotic world. Now, you probably already know that we live in a seemingly chaotic world. The news tells us that every day. So this month, we find the inspiration. This month, we see the big picture, the inspiration and the big picture that help us, that assist us to rise above the chaos. My talk title today is Skin in the Game, and the underlying statement from Ernest Holmes is being in service to others is an expression of love. How many of you have ever heard this expression, skin in the game? Yeah, so a few of you. Now, I had heard of it, but I didn't really know very much about it, so I did a little bit of research over this last week, and I found a couple of things that I thought you might find interesting. So I begin with present times. Now, skin in the game is a term that is coined by renowned investor Warren Buffett. And it is referring to a situation in which high-ranking insiders use their own money to legally, of course, buy stock in their own companies. Now, the theory behind putting skin in the game is that it ensures that the people who are actually running the company also have a direct interest in running the company well. When someone owns stock in a company, he or she wants the company to perform at a really high level to generate returns. Having skin in the game is different from having performance-based bonuses or other types of compensation because there will be direct consequences. Executives can talk all they want, and they do. They can talk all they want, but the best vote of confidence is having one's own money on the line. After the first service, one one person in the congregation said to me that at her bank where she works, they talk about it all the time. They will not give a loan to someone who does not have skin in the game. You take more ownership of something when you have skin in the game. Everyone shares a stake in the company, in the community, in your family, in your lives when you have skin in the game. It is putting your money, your time, your talent where your mouth is. Now, the difference ultimately comes down to ownership. You treat and invest in that in which you own in a much different way from that which you rent or you borrow. The satisfaction you get from taking care of that which is wholly yours is of a far different caliber also. Now, a beautiful example of putting your money where your mouth is, of having skin in the game, and of being in service to others as an expression of love or as an expression of God, is something called the langar. Anyone know what I'm talking about when you hear the word langar? Yay! I can tell you something new today. Now, the term langar literally means kitchen where food is prepared and served to all. The institution of the langar was started by the first Sikh guru. You might have heard it pronounced Sikh. Technically, it is Sikh. And that's really good, right? The first Sikh guru, whose name was Guru Nanak Dev. It was designed to uphold the principles of equality among all people, regardless of their religion, their caste, their creed, their color, their age, their gender, or their social status. This was a revolutionary concept in the 16th century caste-ridden India, where Sikhism first began. The langar is open to Sikhs and non-Sikhs alike. Only vegetarian food is served to ensure that all people, regardless of their dietary restrictions, can all eat as equals. The food is served for free. In addition to the ideals of equality, the tradition of langar expresses the ethics of sharing, community, inclusivity, and oneness of all humankind. The underlying idea is beautiful. The underlying idea is that the light of God is in all hearts. The light of God is in all hearts. Now, the reason that I bring up the langar today is because when Nanak Dev became an adult, his father gave him 20 rupees and sent him off on a trading expedition. The father told his son that a good bargain makes for a good profit. Now, on his way to buy this merchandise, Nanak Dev came upon a group of holy men in the jungle. And he noticed how emaciated they were and decided that the most profitable transaction that he could make with his money was to feed and clothe them. Nanak spent all of his money to buy food and to cook it for the holy men. When he returned home empty-handed, his father punished him quite severely. But Nanak Dev insisted that true profits is only to be had in selfless service. In doing so, he established this principle of the langar. He put his own money on the line. He put his own money where his mouth was. He put his own money into this vision. He had skin in the game. And in the end, it paid off in a really, really big way. Since that first experience of feeding the holy men, langars have been facilitated twice a day, every single day of the year. Each week, a family or several families volunteer to provide and to prepare the langar. Now, this is very generous, because sometimes there may be as many as several hundred people to feed, and caterers cannot be used. All the preparation, all the cooking, all the serving, and all the cleaning up is done by volunteers. Everyone is welcome to share in the langar, and no one is turned away. Besides these daily langars that are held, they also have improvised open-air langars that usually happen around the time of festivals or really large gatherings. Now, especially arranged langars, such as these during these special festivals, are probably the most largely attended community meal anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. There might be 100,000 people partaking of food at a single meal in one of these special langars. One of the most basic tenets of the Sikh faith tradition is the performance of altruistic service for humankind. Wherever Sikhs are, they establish these langars and they serve everyone. They serve everyone as an expression of love. Now, I had an opportunity to attend a langar one time at the Parliament of World Religions in Salt Lake City, Utah last year. There were 10,000 people at the Parliament, and each and every day the Sikhs provided a langar for the lunch, for the noon meal, each and every day. Sikhs from all over the world, young and old alike, volunteered to prepare and to serve this meal. We were asked before we entered into the room to take off our shoes and to cover our heads in some way. Everyone was welcomed, and then we were invited if we were able to, and if we were not able to, they had a different way, but we were all invited to sit on the floor. And once a group of us were sitting, then the Sikhs came around and they served us with loving kindness from this place of pure joy. And the food was delicious, and I think it was even more delicious because of the way that it was served. And because we were all there with each other, it was an amazing, amazing experience. So I'd like you to just take a look at this really quick, short little video. You have to get up pretty early to serve thousands of people. I'm going to finish this talk. Now, historically, this idea of skin in the game was first seen in ancient Greece. Over the entrance to this particular wrestling school were the words, of course in Greek, but I will give them to you in English, strip or retire. During this period of time, men competed in sports and exercised in the nude. Don't think about it too much. Thus, the inscription serves as a challenge to each man entering the gymnasium: come in, participate, or keep out. To be part of this wrestling school, you were literally asked to have skin in the game. Such a requirement extended, however, far beyond just athletics or just activities. A man could not participate in civic life, business transactions, war, or philosophical discussions unless he had metaphorically skin in the game, unless he was willing to risk his life and, what was even more valuable, his honor. So in classical honor cultures, a man's honor centered on his reputation. A reputation that had to be proven and tested in the public arena. To be taken seriously, you had to show your face to others and be open to a constant and challenge to your credibility. Whether or not your words and reputation could be backed up was never permanently decided, but it was instead constantly open to debate. You had to consistently talk your talk and walk your walk. Dr. Carlin Barton, in his book Roman Honor, says, participating in the everyday life of ancient Rome required that one gambled what one was. The level of risk you accepted in your actions and words directly correlated to their weight and power and the degree of respect your peers bestowed upon you. The more risk you incurred, the more you showed yourself to be invested in what you said, the more status and trust that you earned. So in short, just like the Greeks, the Romans honored the man who absolutely held nothing back, who put all that he was at stake in everything that he said and did. Now, apparently that there were no women, just like there was no women in Ernest Holmes' time. So, but I'm going to include all the women in this room in this conversation, okay? J.B. Nash, in his book Spectatoritis, I love this word, Spectatoritis, while sitting in the stands is safer, it is far less satisfying than being in the arena. The process of adding life to years. Don't you love this? The process of adding life to years involves a doing existence. It means facing the current. The same process brings joy to the individual as it brings richness to the group. Strip or retire, as in the days of Greece, is still the motto. The individual who strips for action is the one who has fullness of life. The looker-on, the victim of spectatoritis, brings neither joy to himself nor heritage to his people. Now, I'm sure sitting there you all kind of have in your mind an idea about this word, spectatoritis. But how he describes it, it means excessive indulgence in forms of activities in which one is a passive spectator rather than an active participant. Spectatoritis. It actually means the opposite of having skin in the game. One is sitting up in the grandstands rather than being fully present, rather than being fully involved. It is said that the more that you invest of yourself, the greater your chances of success. Those with skin in the game are the legacy leavers, the people who get things done, the people that are remembered with reverence and respect are those who lived with skin in the game. Think about it. They put all that they are into whatever they are doing. They are willing to give of their time, talent, and treasure for the good of all. They are the ones that change the world in big ways and in small ways by transforming the culture or by simply changing individual lives. For me, this idea of stripping, being in the game naked, also implies that we're coming to the game innocent. That we are the blank slate that we arrived on the planet as, that we have let go of all of the old beliefs, the outdated patterns, and the false stories that we've told ourselves. Being present in the perfect now moment means without the regrets, shame, blame, and judgments of the past. Being present in the perfect now moment means without the fear, doubt, and worry of the future. Who we are and how we operate in the world from this stripped down place, this place of allowing the light that we are to shine through in all of our relationships, in each and every situation, is much different than who we are and how we operate in the world, encumbered by the masks that we sometimes wear or by the clothes that are outdated or no longer fit us. Who we are is peace, and yet we don't always experience it. Who we are is joy, and yet we don't always feel it. Who we are is love, and yet we don't always express it. So how can we experience peace, feel joy, and express love within this chaotic world? The answer is by being fully in our lives. Not sitting on the sidelines or sitting up in the grandstand somewhere, but having skin in the game. Being a stakeholder in our lives, in our work, in our relationships, in our communities. I said earlier that Ernest Holmes says, being in service to others is an expression of love. Now here at the center, we believe that God and love are synonymous. So therefore, sacred service is the practice that allows us to step powerfully into the individualized expression of God that we are. It is God's nature to give. It can't help doing so. It is its nature to give, and it gives generously, willingly, and lovingly. And since we were created in the image and likeness of God, if it is God's nature to give, then it is our nature to give. In giving, we share with others the divine presence that we are. When we serve, we become acutely aware of our interconnectedness to each other and to all of life. When we serve, we belong in a way that could not happen any other way. Active participation in the life of our communities, in the life of our families, in the life, our work life, gives us an acknowledged stake in those arenas. It lifts us up. It raises our spirit. It expands our perspective, and it creates the place and space in which we can really embody compassion and kindness and acceptance and love. And it also allows us to feel a part of something bigger than ourselves. In the quote by George Bernard Shaw that Babs read earlier, he says, "This is the true joy in life, being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. Being used by God for a mighty purpose. How can we not say yes to that? The truth is that your soul will not rest until it expresses what it came here to express. It will continue to seek to express through and as you in your own unique and individualized way. It will seek to express through you, to give to the world that gift that you are. Because there is within each of us an imprisoned gift, a gift that God placed there for us to share with the world. For me, being here for God is being faithful to that which is seeking to be expressed. Being in service to God, in service to life, in service to love, is a divine opportunity to allow that which is seeking to be expressed through us to be expressed. And the heart of sacred service is expressing the God within. And when we do that, when we are stripped down, naked, free of all of the trappings of the world of form, unencumbered by the chaotic world around us, we thrive. When we do that, we are on the field, fully present in the game, engaged in our lives from a space and place of our highest self. We have put our time, our talent, and our treasure where our mouth is. We are stakeholders in our lives. We walk the walk and talk the talk. We have skin in the game. And when we have skin in the game, we thrive and thrive and thrive some more. And so it is. So I invite you to turn within. To sit for a moment in this energy of peace, this energy of joy, this energy of unconditional love, which is the very presence of God itself. To allow our awareness to expand. To know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are connected to this power and presence in ways that can never be broken, that there is a golden thread of God's stuff that weaves itself throughout all of life, that connects us to God and to each other and to life itself, and that can never be broken. And it is from this place of oneness, this place of unity, that I speak these words about and for each of us this morning. Truly knowing that we are spiritual beings having a human incarnation. And that in doing so, there may be moments that appear as chaotic. There may be moments in which we struggle. There may be moments in which we are challenged. But what I know to be true is that as we stand firmly grounded in the truth of who we are as children of God, that we are supported, that we are fueled, that we are funded, and that the crooked ways become straight. The rough patches are smoothed out, and that everything unfolds in divine right order. What I know about this idea of having skin in the game is that it creates a space for us to succeed, a place for us to raise everyone. That as we participate fully in the game, that we allow others to do the same, that we encourage them, that we inspire them, and that our work comes back to us in many different wonderful ways. And so what I claim for each of us today by the power of my word is that stepping into our lives from this place of having skin in the game, being willing to give of our time, talent, and treasure in all of the ways, in big ways, in little ways, comes easy. That there is ease and grace around it for each of us. And what I know is that our lives expand and our communities deepen, and we reach out to more and more people, And ultimately, one by one, we create this world that works for all. And for that, I am very, very grateful. I know that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes. That they are clothed in form even as they are spoken. And I'm so grateful for this process, so grateful for the way that it works. And so I speak these words, I release these words into that law with full expectation of their manifestation, letting go and letting God simply be God. And I invite each of us to anchor it for ourselves and for each other by saying, and so it is. Amen. Amen. Amen.